LockNReload. We are bringing you the Mission First Tactical Battle Stock, the Battlelink utility stock, which would be this guy right there, your buffer tube, and your detent plate, and your lock ring. Bear with me, this is an interesting video because you have no idea how hard for me it is to do an assembly video in the current configuration, trying to get the camera in the right place. It is what it is, so bear with me. Alright, with this one, I have my Tapco stock that I don't really care for. The first thing you do on that is you take off your upper receiver. Second thing is take out your take out your actual buffer. I think there's an actual tool for this, but and the screwdriver will work. And take your buffer detent, push down, and that should slide out. And then take your buffer and buffer tube and set that off to the side. Second thing is going ahead and collapsing your stock on the Tapco stock, pull out, and that comes off. One thing I do like about the Tapco stocks, they're very simple in design, they work. Then what you're going to want to do is loosen your locking ring until it stops. Not too tight, just till it stops. And then what you want to do is hold your finger on the actual buffer tube detent and start unscrewing this out. Relieve tension on that particular spring. Go ahead and take your detent and set it off to the side so it doesn't go everywhere. Alright, so once you get that unloosened, bear in mind, always keep some detent springs on hand, because I just launched mine across the room. You'll never find it. So when you do an order for AR parts, order extra detent springs. They're easy to launch across the room. You can purchase these at Brownells for like $1. Anyway, so take that whole assembly and just unscrew that out. Go ahead and take your end plate off and toss that off to the side. Alright, so once you have your buffer tube off, go ahead and check, go get your new spring or install your spring for your detent. Make sure that sits in place. Then take your buffer tube here and then go ahead and start your castle or your locking ring. What I do is just go ahead and spin that on until that's all the way till the end. Not snug, just till it's to the end. Go ahead and take your detent plate or your lock plate and just go ahead and start screwing that on until it hits a certain spot. It's kind of a pain in the ass, really. Okay. At this point, you see on the inside of here, barely. Then you go ahead and take your detent plate, hold that down, make sure that spring is Unlock that. Okay. Alright, with this one, just go ahead and drop your spring and the whole assembly in. Okay. If you can see that, just slightly press down. Okay. If you see on the inside of here, that little notch should co-witness with this. And then you take your retaining plate with your locking ring. You can see that. Just go ahead and make sure that's straight with the detent spring. And start slowly but surely spinning that on until it stops. Okay. And you go ahead and take your wrench, wherever you put it. Give that like a quarter of a turn, honestly. And what I'll do is I'll come underneath. And that should be on nice and tight. And just double check your tension on your detent pin, because that's what that your takedown pin, because that's what that detent pin's for. Is that little guy. Alright, and just make sure that safe works. Make sure you didn't screw anything up with that. Alright, the next task is taking your spring and your buffer tube. When give that a quarter of a turn after you put your buffer tube in, and it should retain just fine and dandy. You can see that. Next step is taking your Battlelink stock. This is kind of a pain because this is brand new. Going ahead and putting it on. And that's the extent of the build. And that's your Mission First Tactical Battlelink stock assembly. For all those of you guys who don't think this was a very good job, well, you're going to have to eat it, because, you know, in all honesty, it's not your channel. Don't have to watch. But anyway, this is my my little bit on the installation of Mission First Tactical's Battlelink stock. This is their utility stock. But if you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the bottom. At any rate, as always, I'll catch you later.